We're now on page 16 of your working file, the subject of mirror. You can have a lot of fun with this subject. I really do like it. Now, mirroring is something you will do a lot of in time. And right now you might not think of all of the reasons, but you will. So I'm going to show you some fun things you can do, and you'll very quickly start to see how mirroring will be quite valuable. First of all, you can see here horizontal mirror, vertical mirror. Whenever you select an object, on the property bar you'll see the two icons. So if I simply click horizontal, it will flip. See that? As you can see. So in other words, it flipped left to right. If I do the vertical mirror, it will flip the other way. So if we keep doing this, I can get it back to where it was. There we go. So I'll select that again and I'll do a vertical mirror, which is just flipping it upside down but on the same axis. You'll notice it hasn't moved anywhere on my screen. And back again, horizontally and back again. So that's a basic mirror. If I were to just pop this over here, following along what you can see here, if I hit plus on my keyboard, that will create a duplicate. Now if you are using a laptop and you don't have a plus, which you can use Control C. Okay, it's the same as coming up to edit and go copy and then paste. So Control C and Control V. And what that will do is copy it to your clipboard and paste it back down perfectly over the top. So now we have a duplicate sitting on top. Now if I do this, finger on Control, okay, nothing will happen until I get to the other side. And flip, as you can see. If I make that black in color, quite an interesting looking effect. Now I'll do it again. Select my object, plus on my keyboard, and finger on Control, and I'll flip down, make it black in color, and I'll squash it back up a little bit. So there you go. It's an interesting looking effect, isn't it? Mirroring is something you'll use for all sorts of circumstances. Let me just delete that. I'll grab this picture up here, and again, plus on my keyboard, and finger on Control, pop it over the other way. I'll select both of those, plus on my keyboard, pull that down like that, and then I'll flip that vertically up a little bit, just using the arrow keys of my keyboard. In fact, I'll go the other way. Yeah, there we go. Interesting looking effect, isn't it? I love flipping photographs or mirroring photographs. You do get some really interesting looks, particularly for magazine design, etc. Again, this time I'll do Control C and then Control V. I'll paste back down, finger on Control, and flip that over the other way, just back a little. And isn't that a really interesting, kind of creepy looking effect, isn't it? And one more time, I've just done this for you so that you can have something you can play with and create your own types of effects. Plus on the keyboard, I'll flip this over, just back a little bit, plus on my keyboard, flip it over, and back a little bit, plus on my keyboard, flip it over, and just back a little bit. So there you go. I mean, it does look realistic, even though they are duplicates. Unless you kind of examine that image, you wouldn't really tell, would you? So there you go, really powerful stuff that you can do with mirroring. Let me just delete that. With this little triangle, I'm going to show you another interesting set of effects. First of all, if I hit plus on my keyboard, right? Now, with my finger on the shift key this time, see what happens. Can you see that I'm mirroring, but the anchor point is in the center? Okay, finger on the shift, the anchor point is in the center. So I'm creating a mirror, but I don't have that same automatic control of the size. I have to manually resize it. So there's a mirror flip for you. Let's do it again. Plus on my keyboard. Now, this time I'll constrain. So finger on the shift key and finger on the control key, both at the same time. So control and shift. Now, as I pull, nothing will, notice how it flips when I get past the center point. Okay, can you see that? Let me just Control Z, undo that, and I'll increase the size. And it sort of looks a bit like a hat, doesn't it? Plus on my keyboard for the duplicate, Control and Shift, and flip. And it flipped from the center. Just remember that. Now, let's have some fun with this. And I'm doing this deliberately just so that you've got some things to play with and to experiment with. And we're putting some of the skills we've been learning to date into practice. So plus or Control C and then Control V. Finger on Control. Now I'll select them both. Plus, finger on Control, mirror, select them all, plus finger on control, and one more time I'll just select those ones there, and plus control, flip that over. Now if I select all of those, plus on my keyboard, finger on control, flip that down, might make that yellow in color, interesting effect. Now this time I'm just going to move everything over a little bit. So finger on control, remember constraining to move horizontally. I'll just line that up with there. Delete that one, delete that one. That's a pretty cool looking effect, isn't it? See how you can just easily do some stuff. Finger on control, constrain, or just move that up. So I'm always using finger on control to constrain to perfect moving on my vertical or horizontal axis. Well, gee, I've shown you a lot in this lesson, putting together a lot of what we've been learning to date. So why don't you go ahead with that, have a play and see what you can come up with.